Sofia, Bulgaria. This is it. It's where I live. Well, it's at least my home base, as I have mentioned in a couple other videos. I have been living here, well, sort of, for 3 years now. It feels like I haven't been here very often this year, and because of that, I better seize the day. It is a beautiful fall afternoon here in the heart of the Bulgarian capital, and I will be embarking on another trip out of the country shortly and returning in late October, and by then I am not expecting any weather like this. So it's now or never. It is time to embark on a walking tour of the city center of Sofia. Here we go. Can you see that? Yeah, behind me is Saint Sofia. Everyone here says Saint Sofia, or when a girl has the name Sofia, it's Sofia, but the city, at least as all Bulgarians, I shouldn't say all Bulgarians, I meet ethnic Bulgarians outside the country sometimes, or I'll meet people who are born here and they moved out when they're like 2 or 3 years old, and they come back and they say, this is my first or second time visiting Sofia, and it sounds so weird. Not to knock them, my Bulgarski is nedobre. Anyway, so that's the statue of the city namesake behind me, and I forgot to mention in the opening that this I'm not so good at these poses. Is that better? This ultra Soviet Stalinist looking structure, that which says Narodno Sobranie on it, no, you can't see it, it's too small from here. That is the former Bulgarian Communist Party, I was gonna say dream house, I just got out of Romania, the former Bulgarian Communist Party house, which is basically their headquarters. And this, I forget the name of this whole complex. This is a little central shopping center thing called Zoom. And right here, I think you have the ministers building, and you have the presidency, which will hit up right across the street. And this all surrounds, well, what does it surround? You look at this and you say, what is this bizarre looking greenhouse type of structure? Maybe that kind of resembles Kiev or Minsk or whatnot. Well, actually underneath there, which you cannot see, but I can sort of see, those are Roman ruins down there, and we will be getting to that later on in this brief walking tour. The city of Sofia, going back hundreds of years, was known as Serdica. In fact, this central metro station that I'll take you to in a little bit is named Serdica. And pretty much, I guess this whole city center area, maybe elsewhere in the city, was part of this old, if not, I guess, ancient city of Serdica. And something interesting that you probably did not know is that the Emperor Constantine once considered making Sofia, not Istanbul, or at the time Byzantium, which later became Constantinople. Constantine considered making Sofia the new capital of the Roman Empire. Well, that didn't happen, but if you want to play what if, then Bulgaria might have been a very prominent place for many years. But that did not happen. But as I position myself to block the sun, there's a lot that I find interesting here nonetheless. You can see how now they've got the Bulgarian, this is another very awkward position. Can't see it so well, but you should be able to see right Wow, my finger looks so big now. Right there somewhere is the Bulgarian flag that replaced the communist star that used to be atop this building. In Sofia, you just kind of make do and cross the street whenever. It's Eastern Europe, it just is that way. Now, it wouldn't make so sense to just jet out in the traffic right now. That might get me killed, but you'll see in a second. Like, now is not a good time. Now is a good time to run for it. This looks like a tour group right here. A lot of walking tours, especially at this hour. I have never taken one of the formal walking tours here though, so I'm not even rehashing some guide's info. This is pretty much ad-lib. That's a nice little shot with the color scheme. It's interesting, the contrast with, in the city center, there's a lot of Viennese style architecture. Pretty much those are the nice looking buildings like this. And putting them right up against Soviet Stalinist stuff is quite a contrast. And then you throw in the Roman ruins and it makes for an interesting place as I almost fall into the street. So should we take this underpass, excuse me, or should we battle the traffic? It is getting to be rush hour here, and this is looking a little intimidating. There is a crosswalk down this way a bit. What shall we do? That didn't work out so well. I was going to show you here. This building is the National Bank, Bulgarian National Bank, the central bank. There's really nothing to see there. Usually I manage to cross above ground, but this isn't looking so good unless we just kind of make a run for it. Now we're standing in the middle of the street, but there we go. Easier done than said. And I'm going to skip, due to time constraints, the National Theater and the park right next to it, which is just down this way. They're a nice place to hang out. It's where I made my very first friend when I came here. I didn't have any friends when I was 2 days into my new life in Bulgaria, so I just ran up to random groups of people in the, I call it the Narodnya, some people call it that, basically just like the National Theater Park. And that's how I made my first friend. That worked out pretty well. Sometimes you catch the guards. Oh, and right as I'm saying that, there are a couple. Sometimes you catch them in action. There isn't so much action here. It looks more like preparation. Or they're just in between tasks. But yeah, there they are. So now we're walking in or underneath the presidency, the presidential administration. Bulgaria now has a former Air Force commander as its president. That caused a bit of a ruckus back when they were having the elections because he was said to be very pro-Russian. We're not going to get into all the Russia-EU stuff right now. Shabam! And there it is. I believe it's called St. George's Rotunda, or St. George Rotunda. This to me is the coolest structure in the entire city center. So this church, I believe, goes back to the 4th century, maybe the 5th century. I think I read that on Wikipedia once. it's still operational. You can go inside there. There are people go in there regular basis. I see them having mass on Sundays and other stuff. And this is one of at least 2 extremely old churches that are right here in the city center, basically left untouched and are still operational. I used to be very close with a person and family that attend the other church that I'll show you momentarily. So the presidential administration building is here. The nice Sheraton hotel is on the other side, and this in the middle is the church with these ruins over here. Sometimes I'll see some young Bulgarian lovers hopping on down there at night, and they're not getting at it too much, but occasionally you'll see some people down there. Alright, we're gonna circle around the church. Here's maybe a better shot. I don't really see what you're seeing, so hopefully you're seeing a nice picture. This view that I'll show you when I spin around in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or rather, when you're down this street and you happen to turn while you're walking onto the street and then suddenly this appears, I think that's one of the coolest things. When I'm walking way farther down that way and I turn a corner and then suddenly up pops the green dome of the Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, I think that's very cool. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Istanbul, how when you're not expecting it, you turn a corner and then there's an incredible view. It's not like, oh yeah, in Bulgaria, that's kind of what the sidewalk is like. If you don't look down and pick up your feet, then you're always tripping here, but no big deal. See? There's a bar, the Arbat bar, right next to the church. In case you need to do a little drinking before or after. I don't think that's the point of it. I've been meaning to do one of these walk-in tours for a long time, and I was very much procrastinating. And over the course of my procrastination, something happened that I vowed would not let happen. What is there to photograph up there?
What do you mean?
What is there to photograph up there?
What is the photograph?
Yeah, I mean, what is the...
What do you mean? Like this or?
Oh yeah, that.
Yeah.
I never looked up.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm here, I'm looking at the church. I never look up there.
So you have to take a look?
So what's the interesting thing up there?
I don't know. It's interesting, yes. It's nice. Beautiful.
Anyway, what I let happen was, while I was out of the country a couple months back, this communist era monument that is way down this way a bit in front of the Palace of Culture, this controversial monument that was decaying and looking very ugly and it had some absurd nickname, they finally took it down, and I had vowed to do a walking tour video before that monument came down. So I broke that promise. I apologize to you guys. However, I did, after I returned, I don't know if backing up is gonna keep the bells from drowning me out, but anyway, the bell stopped. So when I returned from my trip after the It's called the 1300 Years Memorial. After that was taken down, Brent Sanders, my co-host on my podcast, Freemancast or Videocast, we went over there and we shot an episode talking all about it. So you can click on the link to that in the description below and check that out. That is all history right now. This nice church, kind of like a mini Alexander Nevsky, that is Sveta Nedelya. And this is the Sheraton. And now we're finally going down through the underpass. I guess I could try to jump, but that wouldn't work out so well. We will be wrapping up this tour momentarily. Bulgarian souvenirs. I mean, they always have to have Putin's face here. I don't know why. It never seems to sell, but they always have it. Here is this, I do not know the name of this church, but it is also very old and very much operational. That's kind of a cool shot where you can see this old church, although the sun's not helping us, coupled with right that away, no star, but the old Communist Party house. And so down this way is the mosque that you're looking at right there. It's called the Banyabashi Mosque, I believe. During Ottoman times, I think a lot of churches were converted into mosques. I'm not sure if that's what happened there. I really don't know. But the Ottoman era is still a very touchy subject here in Bulgaria. Bulgaria was integrated or arguably enslaved in the Ottoman Empire for half a millennium, and it's still fairly fresh on people's minds, especially with the migrant and refugee crisis over the past few years. Some old sentiments have definitely been popping up. That mosque that you see is very popular among the migrant and refugee crowd. The rather large migrant and refugee crowd that's popped up here in Sofia over the past few years. And dun, 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 here they are, the Roman ruins. This is one thing that Sofia as a municipality and Bulgaria as a country really nailed. This whole exhibit, I guess I would call it, was not here when I first arrived a few years back. The excavation was still going on, and unlike some other cities and countries, Bulgaria actually had the guts to build around here, to build a metro here, and to excavate it and make it look all pretty, and now it's just a part of the fabric of the city center. I think there's some other countries in the region actually that have Roman ruins that have been scared to build around them or on them or construct a metro or something like that. So yeah, we could actually walk through them as we wrap up this walking tour. Oh yeah, they call it the Ancient Serdica Complex. Archeologicheski Complex Serdica. Slow, but I think I got it. I don't know why this part is caged off. Alright, we are coming up on 20 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up. I enjoyed giving you this glimpse at the city center of my home base of Sofia, Bulgaria, the rather old yet still vibrant city here in southeastern Europe. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like on YouTube. That would tell me that you would like me to do more of these walking tours. In other videos, I will discuss the value that Sofia offers me as a home base and a place of legal residence. If you have any questions, if I left anything out in this tour, please leave comments below, and I'll leave you with a McDonald's sign. You can't really see it. When I first showed up and I saw McDonald's written in Cyrillic, I thought, wow, I have arrived. And on that note, as they say in Bulgarian, say leka večer. It's almost about that time. Leka večer means just have a good evening. Anyway, doviđdane od Sofia. Goodbye from Sofia.